Hi everyone, welcome back. Jedi here. I've got a little book review on this Build the Perfect Survival Kit by John McCann. Now stick with me on this one. You may well have seen it before, you may have seen a review. I wanted to give my 2 pence on it. If you've seen it and thought, well, no point in me going for this because I know how to build my survival kit, I know everything about it, you know, all there is to know, think again. I looked at this initially skeptically, but employed a level of humility to say, look, you know, let's look and see what this book has to offer, and I'm really glad I did. If you're anything like me, you probably spent hours in the bedroom putting these kits together in tobacco tins, different pouches, that sort of thing, maybe taking inspiration from, say, Lofty Wiseman's book, the SAS Survival Handbook, you know, those sorts of things. But I guarantee you, even though I've spent years putting together my own kits, you will learn something from this book. There'll be 1%, if that, of people that can't take something from this book. Originally, purchase price of $14.99. I picked this book up for £7 from a website called thebookdepository.co.uk. If anybody doesn't know who John McCann is, he runs the Survival Resources website, cracking little website, which is at www.bepreparedtosurvive.com. Even if you're in the UK, he's got some good prices on equipment, and the shipping is not too bad either. Give this book a chance. I think it's well worthwhile having a little read through it at that price. The basis of a survival kit is around, for my mind, the concept of building upon your EDC. I don't care who you are, if you carry a set of keys, a watch, spectacles, whatever, you've got an EDC system. Whether you choose to look at that EDC system and build upon it, really evaluate the items that you carry and what they can do for you, whether you choose to add to that is your decision, but everybody has an EDC. I would never consider going anywhere without either my Victorinox Farmer or my Soldier, for example, and I would never consider going anywhere without a flashlight. Simple as. I always have my watch on me. You know, this Maxpedition Micro has been great for putting my EDC system together as well. But the fundamental of a survival kit builds upon that EDC system. And that's the first message that comes out of this. Let's just move these bits out of the way and zoom in a little bit onto the book. So it starts off with a foreword from Ron Hood, who is or was a respected survival instructor, survivalist in the US, as is John. And this guy really knows what he's talking about. I mean, if you have a look at his website, he's got a ton of kit on there, which he's researched himself. And the message behind this is that this guy's been out and looked at and tested the equipment that he puts in this book for its you know, suitability, value for money, size, all those sorts of things, and make some recommendations based on that experience, which I like, you know. Forget these kits that are just out there and put together by people that know nothing about going out into the outdoors. I really hate it when people do that. And I sympathise with people that go out and buy the stuff as well, but, you know, thinking they can put their lives into the hands of these companies that have just got no idea what they're doing. Get this book instead. Spend £7 on looking through this book and learning and understanding what it takes to put together a survival kit. You know, in this economic uncertainty, this period of environmental change, terrorist attacks, all those sorts of things, more and more people are looking at this and the concept of survival kits. And this book is really worthwhile in helping you to do that. So a bit about the introduction, why you need a survival kit, a bit about what John carries as an EDC system. I've made a video on my EDC system if you want to have a look at that and take some ideas from it. I make no claims that it's the perfect system whatsoever, it just works very well for me. But part one on the basics of why we put a survival kit together, what categories that John suggests you want to cover, and the basic concept around being able to start a fire using more than one technique, being able to navigate, signal for help, build a shelter, get water and food for yourself, and some, you know, first aid capability. So starting off in the book, you've got a couple of these panels that run throughout the book, fast fact panels, and these are pretty good around the rule of threes. This is not an absolute. Anybody that's gone 3 weeks without food will soon tell you that they hallucinated pretty badly, and if they came out the end of it, they weren't in too good a shape either. with passing out at random occasions. 3 days is an absolute maximum you can go without water. Don't take this literally that you can go 3 days. You've got to find water a lot quicker than this, but it's a good mechanism that gives you an idea about the priorities that you need to work to where these things are concerned. So he goes through the process of examining a number of the different component parts for each of these categories, looking at matches, for example, and match containers, match safes, different types of matches that you can get, whether it's stormproof, strike anywhere, or windproof matches, and also looking at different types of fire strikers, why they might be applicable in certain circumstances and for certain kits. But one of the themes that runs through this is saying that there is not one item that he suggests or recommends over and above another. Look at the kit you're trying to build, look at the purpose behind it, look at what you're trying to achieve, and establish, based around an affordability point of view and a size point of view, what the most appropriate item is to include. And he does that through all the categories, looking at things like magnesium blocks, tinder options, candles, emergency candles, flashlight options that you might want to consider, headlamps as well, things like signal mirrors, going on to whistles for signalling, navigation, beacons, compasses for general direction finding, or whether you want to go into the more serious orientation and navigation with map reading. They've all got their place, and John goes into a very objective opinion on why one thing is better than another, or more appropriate, should I say, for a certain survival kit or your environment than another option. He does this, as I say, all the way through the different categories within the book, water containers, all those sorts of things. It's quite an inspiring book in many ways. I mean, take fishing kit, for example. I don't carry a fishing kit when I go into the woods. There's no bodies of water that I can really do any fishing in, and it certainly wouldn't aid my survival in the 800 acres that I go into, which has got no body of water to catch any fish. Yeah, I know it's got some redundancy. You could use the line for repairs and all that kind of business, but I've got repair kits for that. I use the right items for the right job. And a fishing kit per se is not the right item for the 800 acres of woodland that I go into with no water. But I was inspired to put one together, just in case I do go to an area, like North Wales that I holiday in quite regularly. If I choose to go into an area that's got a body of water, I've got that available to me now. So that was an inspiration that I took. So going towards the end, it then moves on, after he's gone into all the different items that you might want to consider and the pros and cons of those, it goes into the different types of survival kits that you can make, different containers, for example. It's not just about taking a tin that you can make char cloth with or boil your water in. It suggests that there may be perfectly valid and logical reasons for considering things like a jacket, like a stick, like soft and malleable containers like pouches, or hard plastic containers, for example. So many different options and the reasons why you might want to consider these different containers, but also then going into micro, mini, small, medium and large kits, as well as kits for the car, automobile, boats and planes. Some fantastic ideas in here. If you don't take something from this book, I would be exceptionally surprised. If you're just starting off on your journey, putting a kit together, then you will take a massive amount of information from this book. Right at the end, you've got a really good little section, which is a grid here, and I'm going to do a video myself on my own survival kit, listing down all the items that I've got in my kit for these categories, and just showing you the process that I've gone through to do that. Then at towards the end, the penultimate section is showing you all of the different kits listed together with all the items that he's put in there. Again, not suggesting you need to follow this exactly, but suggesting that if you wanted to, or you like the look of a kit, you've got the items laid out here that you could entertain. Going through all of those small, medium vehicle kits and all that sort of thing. Then right at the end, you've got the component suppliers, a really, really good selection, mainly US based because John comes from the US, but there's some for the UK here as well. A list of supplier references and addresses for those component parts. So I hope that's been of use to you guys. As I say, employ a level of humility. We don't know everything. You might have been putting kits together for years. I have, but I took some good stuff out of this. I'm absolutely positive you can. That's why I've chosen to do this video, to implore you to give it a chance, have a look, and bolster your knowledge a little bit more. Thanks very much for your time, people. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you again in the next video.